of right prisms. Getting our brains warmed up. True or false? Prisms are three-dimensional shapes. That is true. A rectangular prism is formed by 8 flat surfaces. That is thumbs down. It is formed by 6. The amount of space enclosed by a three-dimensional shape is measured in cubic units. That is correct. And the volume of a prism is the area of its base. That is not correct. It's the area of its base times the height, or how tall that figure is. Taking a look at this study link, are all the cube structures shown in 1, 2, 3, and 4, are they rectangular prisms? Take a look at that. Maybe look in your SRB for the definition of a rectangular prism. If you were to do that, number 1 is a rectangular prism because all 6 surfaces are formed by rectangles. However, 2, 3, and 4 are not because there are not all rectangles. Yes, they're formed by rectangles, but overall they are not equal. All right, congruent and parallel. Remember, congruent is the same. Parallel are lines that will never intersect. So even looking at these lines, the lines are parallel. They will never eventually intersect. They are on opposite side. We could say that this side is congruent to this side right here. All cube structures are prisms because each is enclosed three-dimensional figure made up of polygonal regions, flat surfaces or faces. Each has 2 congruent and parallel faces. This is parallel or congruent to this side, congruent from this side to that side. What are the 2 congruent and parallel faces called? Well, they're going to be called our base of the prism. Very important for us to remember, something maybe you will want to write down in your notes. All right, the number of cubes in the first layer is the same as the number of squares in the base. So if we were to take a look at this figure, the area would be 4 by 4, which is 16. And that is going to be the same thing as our base. And then as soon as you find out the base of your figure, you just have to multiply it by how tall the figure is. So if we knew that our base was 16, but we went up 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, 16 times 4 would give us our answer of the volume of this entire figure. Each prism is made up of layers of centimeter cubes with the same number of cubes in each layer. The number of layers is actually going to be considered our height. If you know the number of cubes in the first layer, our base layer that we've talked here, we can find the volume by multiplying our first layer by how tall or the height of our prism. What would the volume of the prism in problem 1 if it were 5 centimeters high? Well, if we can find our base first, it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 by 1, 2, 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So our base is 15. So if we had 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15, that would get us an answer of, well, 15 plus 15 is 30. 30 plus 30 is 60. 60 plus 15 is 75. So it would be 75 cubic centimeters. What if it was 2.5 centimeters high? Well, we know the first layer is 15. The second layer is 15, so that's 30. And half of 15 is 7.5. So it would be 37.5 centimeters cubed. Prisms are named by the shape of their base. Remember that the bases are parallel and congruent. So if we were to take a look at this first one, this would be considered my base, and it's congruent or parallel to the opposite side, and it is the shape of a triangle, so it is a triangular prism. If we're to take a look here, the opposite side, the parallel side, which is right here, so what shape is it? It is a pentagon, so it is a pentagonal prism. Taking a look here, opposite side, okay, they're parallel, they'll never intersect, so it is a rectangular prism. Your math journal today, you're going to be having to solve finding a bunch of different prisms, the volume of them. Remember that the formula for finding volume of a prism is base times height. Sometimes the base will be given, like in number 1. Sometimes you will have to figure out what the base is, like in number 7. So make sure you find the base. Remember, the base is the area of the bottom layer. So number 1, they've already told us that the area of the base is 10. So we could fill in 10 for here, and we have to multiply it by our height. How tall does it go? I believe that's 6. So 10 times 6 is 60 centimeters cubed. Remember, whenever we are we're finding volume, it is always cubed. Now, if we were to go ahead and take a look at maybe number 3, they don't give us the area of the base, so we need to figure out that area first. Well, first we need to identify what shape is it. Well, it's a parallelogram, and remember the area of a parallelogram is the base times your height. So 12 times 6. So 12 times 6 is 72 centimeters. And we have 10 layers of that. So our total would be 720 centimeters cubed. Remember, the base for triangles are different. It is base times height times half. Using that knowledge, you should be able to answer the rest of the questions on your math journal on page 325. Today you will also be playing polygon capture, taking a look at SRB page 328. Reviewing our big ideas today, to find the volume of a prism, multiply the base, which is typically base times height, or your base times your height of the figure, or if it's a triangle, it is half times base times height times the height. And then also remember that, a lot of remembers there, that the unit for volume is cubic units, so centimeters cubed, inches cubed, and so forth. If you remember these steps, you will be successful in today's lesson.